In each episode of this series, I will offer an applicant a blind choice of either a pleasant experience, a treat, or a darker trick. Following advertisements in the press, over 1,000 people applied online. All were sent a card saying they were being considered, but none of them knew if or when they were going to be chosen. These are the people I've selected, they just don't know it yet. Welcome to Trick or Treat. Tonight's applicant is Glen, who we're secretly filming here. Glen's a 40-year-old father of 2 from Essex. He's an aviation insurance specialist. He reads Stephen King. He loves Star Trek, regularly goes to watch West Ham, plays poker and hates heights. He considers himself of average intelligence but says he doesn't have a good memory. And after monitoring Glen and his life for several days, the idea for his ambush began to take shape. Glen has come here today for a medical checkup. However, we knew where he was going and so got here a few hours before him. He has no idea what's about to happen. We've placed hidden cameras throughout the building and have also taken control of the lift.
Very scary. What's going on here? Shit. Nothing's going to happen, not it. That scared me.
Hi Glen.
Derren, how are you?
I'm very well indeed. Now you applied to be part of the show.
Yeah, I did.
We'd love to use you.
Thank you.
You know how it works?
I do.
You're going to pick one of 2 cards.
Right.
One says trick, one says treat. If you pick the one that says treat, it'll be something nice. If you pick the one that says trick, it won't be. Do you want to play?
I do.
Excellent. First of all, you have to sign your contract. That allows us to do anything we like with you. It's difficult to read the red writing in the red light, isn't it? Touch the one you'd like.
My daughter would like me to go left. My left.
Okay. If you're going to turn face the other way, I'm going to show the camera the one that you picked. Thank you, Glen. You can turn back now. We'll be in touch. Having ambushed Glen the previous week, I've invited him to join me at King's College Library in central London to discover what's going to happen to him. Surrounded by almost 1 million books containing the general knowledge of the world, this is the ideal place to get started. However, what he doesn't know is that the game has already begun. Well, look, sorry for the scare the other day, but your scares are over now. You picked a treat.
Fantastic.
Your treat is going to be this. Today's Wednesday.
Yeah.
Right. Next Wednesday, there's something called the Night of the Champions.
Right.
And it is the pub quiz of pub quizzes. You're going to enter that competition.
Right.
On your own.
On my
own.
own.
Hopefully do very well. You're going to compete for the prize. And we have between now and then for me to show you how to learn everything. So you're covered.
What? Everything ever?
Everything ever, pretty much. Now, take a seat for a second, because I know in saying this it can sound very daunting.
Yeah.
And just to demonstrate to you how much better your memory is than you probably think it is at the moment, you leave work in the morning about 8 o'clock, is that right?
Yeah.
And you make the trip from your house to Gidea station.
Gidea Park Station.
There's a cash machine that's just on the outside of that station that you walk past to get to the entrance, yes?
Yeah.
Now, do you remember walking past it yesterday?
No.
No? But you just remember you did it in the sense that you know that you did it, but you wouldn't necessarily be able to recreate the scene.
There was a woman.
What was she wearing, do you remember?
She was wearing a red coat.
So that's one of us, and was part of the group that were watching you. The reason why we chose her and why she was dressed like that is so that she would form like a marker in your mind. There'd be something, because I was hoping that you'd have a vague recollection of her. Right. However, if I said to you that up above the cash machine there was something different that isn't normally there, there was a sign that we'd put there with a word on. So if I asked you,
no.
You can't even remember the sign, let alone the word that was on it.
Not at all.
If I said just try and remember what that said.
But I can't say that I actually remember seeing something like that.
So, close your eyes. You're coming out of your house. You're crossing over the road. You are a little bit flustered.
Yeah.
So just run that forward in your mind until you start to approach the train station. And just in your mind, just pan up. There's a word on the sign, and as you look at it, just let that come into focus. You're not trying to remember what it is. You're just letting a word come into focus.
I strangely keep seeing the word shoe.
Shoe?
Yeah.
Okay. What makes you say the word shoe?
I don't know. What makes me say the word shoe?
All right, fantastic. I want you to remember what that's like. We filmed
Please don't be shoe.
We filmed the whole thing. Take a look at this.
This is going to really freak me out.
You are. Do you remember this?
No. Well, I remember that, yeah.
They had no idea we were filming you? No. These are on very long lenses, so we're quite far away. That's going to cut forward to when you're approaching the station. So we've slowed this down.
No way!
Look.
No, how'd you do that?
There she is. There that is. You didn't even look. What made you say it?
I have no... How'd you do that?
How did you do it? That's the point. When you tried to remember it, you couldn't. You put that effort into it, it just gets in the way. It stops it from happening. And what we're going to do with these books is the same thing. And the reason why I've shown you this is I want you to know that you can do this as effortlessly. And all it takes is that not trying and trusting kind of what I'm going to ask you to do.
I'm feeling like that's the most bizarre episode of my entire life.
Fantastic. Okay.
I'm going to have to expand Glen's memory capability so that I can teach him to absorb huge amounts of information.
This is where you have to just trust me and do this technique, because it will feel like you're not really doing anything. You take your right hand and you make this. So that's right, forefinger and middle finger. Is that comfortable for you? Yeah.
Yeah.
And now you're going to start off probably fairly slowly, moving your fingers down at about that speed. Just do that for me.
Now, the internet is bursting with speed learning courses, very few of which ever offer anything of value. I have my own techniques which will allow Glen to learn thousands of pages of information unconsciously with no conscious awareness of what he's remembering. And sometimes that information may be stored as words and sometimes as pictures.
Straight down the middle, so everything goes in peripherally. As you get into it, you will not be consciously aware.
The system sounds great, but it's of very limited use as the information fades away after a few days if it isn't reviewed.
I know it's a mad mission, but any questions before you start?
No. I'm just going to go for it.
Fantastic.
I thought to myself, nah, this is not going to work, and I'm going to be making a complete idiot of myself next week, coming last in a pub quiz of Great Britain or wherever it is. Now, let's have a crack at it.
Over the next 7 days and nights, Glen will have to view a phenomenal amount of facts and figures to have any chance of competing well against 150 of the top pub quizzes in London. Of course, there's no guarantee that the answers he'll need will be covered by the information in these books, so all we can do is cram in as much as possible.
If we can do this, then it'll be some achievement.
One of the techniques I've been showing Glen is an extension of what some people refer to as a photographic memory. To demonstrate what Glen will be taking on, I've invited James Hoffman, who is world barista champion as a leading coffee expert, to help me spill the beans.
If you can take maybe 3 big scoops of coffee and pretty much cover the tray with beans. I'd like to try something with that, so I'll let you do that now. Perfect. Okay, that's absolutely fine. Let's leave them as they are. Would you pick one out? Pick a bean? Any bean? So, if you can mark your bean, that would be perfect.
Okay.
If you maybe turn it over, mark the other side of it. And it can be anything you like, a cross, a dot, 2 dots, your initials, anything you like, but something so you'll definitely recognise that again. Very nice, a little cross.
Good.
You take that back for me. Thank you. Good. While that dries, I now have to memorise the order of the beans that are on the tray. So give me a second to do that. And just keep half an eye on your beans. You know, I'm not going to flick the bean off or anything like that. That would be a first. What I'm doing is taking a series of mental photographs. Okay, just do it. I'm going to face the other way.
Okay.
You're going to place your bean somewhere on top of the beans in the tray, and obviously place it with a cross on the underneath. And I will look the other way. Please keep half an eye on me, so you know I'm not going to look genuinely. I can't see.
Okay.
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 Are you happy I didn't see where you put it? I genuinely didn't. All right. Okay, it's not there. All there. There are 1,347 beans in that tray, and you're more than welcome to count them, but I'm only going to give myself one shot at this. And I think that bean there is your bean. Come in.
Okay.
Turn it over.
Very good.
Show the camera.
I'm impressed.
Excellent.
You can't really cheat that. So yeah, absolutely. Pure memory. Impressed.
This technique of memorising a complex pattern of coffee beans is similar to the principles I've taught Glen to snapshot the huge mountain of facts that he needs to compete successfully in the pub quiz final.
I can't really know everything in these books, can I?
Glen now only has 3 days left before he has to compete in the pub quiz Night of the Champions. He's following my techniques rigorously, and we continue to monitor his progress. Glen will have no conscious memory of anything that he's learning. That's the only way I can make room for the huge amount of information that has to go in. However, after a week of intensive studying, I felt he needed a little boost in his confidence. We met up, and Glen brought with him a selection of the books he'd been absorbing so that he can test for the first time whether the system is working or not.
So talk me through what you've been doing over the last few days.
I've been looking an awful lot of books.
Just to let you see that you do know more than you think you know. Is it one of the books that you've read?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a book on art and artists.
Yeah.
It's a encyclopedic volume. Looks like it's part of a set. I can ask you a question from this. If you tried to work out the answer, you probably wouldn't be able to get it. You'd find that very difficult. So I don't want you to do that. What I want you to do is to imagine that the answer is coming somewhere from the back of your mind, where you've had no conscious awareness of any facts at all. From somewhere in the darkness, something will come forward, some images, some ideas, which you're going to piece together to form an answer. Worst thing that happens is you're wrong. Does not matter at all.
Okay.
All right? So if I asked you, for example, the Camden Town Group, which is a group of British painters, they formed in 1911. They held an exhibition somewhere in London in 1911 to 1912. If I asked you where that was.
Carfax House. Hey!
Carfax Gallery, London, 1911 to 1912. So, what made you say that?
Just, I could see a car. All I could see was a car, and it looked strange.
Yeah.
There was something about it,
Yeah.
and I could see something coming out of it, and it looked like a fax machine. So
you went Carfax.
Carfax. How would I know that? Don't tell me I know everything in these really books. I mean, I can't really know everything in these books, can I?
No, surely not.
I don't want to do this too much. Let's just do one more. Amazon rainforest. How many different sorts of hummingbird have been recorded in the Amazon rainforest?
319. No.
Right there.
Christ almighty. No, I certainly can't know that. How do I know that, Derren?
Bird life is even richer. More than half the world's total of 86,000 species thriving in the Great Green Sanctuary. 319 different sorts of hummingbird alone have been recorded. How does that feel?
Scary. I've taken everything in.
Don't even try and work it out.
Okay.
Right? Just take it on board. Great, I've got it. Take whatever encouragement you can from that feeling of astonishment that you have at the moment, and then just let it take you forward. And so, after only 1 week of looking at hundreds of books, thousands of pages, and millions of words, Glen's arrived at the Night of the Champions, where 150 of the brightest brains have gathered to compete for the coveted prize of Pub Quiz Champion.
With the missing links.
The toucans.
5 dogs and 1 fox.
We've won 6 out of the last 7 that we've done. Good questions.
They're always good questions.
Definitely going to go for winning.
You don't quiz if you don't think you're going to win.
Although everyone knows we're filming for a TV show, they don't know that it's mine. So I have to hide in the pub garden, in the cold, to talk to Glen in secret. Glen's turned up with his wife Jane for moral support.
So I gave you some techniques as to how to kind of access the information.
It feels like there's a huge room in my head with lots of drawers, lots of places to hide things. I've got a fair idea of how to go and get the stuff.
Yes.
Hopefully it's just going to come.
Jane has been told not to talk to Glen or react or do anything that might help him. The questions have been set by Andy Burns, one of London's most experienced quizmasters. I've had no contact with him, and as with all the teams, he doesn't know that I'm involved.
There's lots of smart people downstairs who've been quizzing a very long time, and who I guess are expecting something tough. They're expecting the best, and I think I'll put something together that would really test them.
The teams are made up of between 4 and 6 of the brightest people from their area. Glen is the only person tonight entering this quiz alone.
Event on the London Pub Quiz.
The quiz comprises 40 questions, and Andy, the quizmaster, is the only one in the room who knows what those questions are and what subjects they'll be covering.
Champions in your own right, you are champions of the own pub that you go.
Glen is clearly nervous and still has no idea if the speed learning I've taught him will be enough to answer whatever questions are asked.
So let's get this quiz underway, ladies and gentlemen. This is it. Question 1. What is the middle name of the current US president? What is another common name for the scarab beetle?
I'm not positive for scarab beetle. I had a picture in the scarab beetle, but I can't decipher what the picture means.
When Big Ben strikes 5 o'clock, how many seconds delay is there between the strikes? In fencing, what do you call the resultant fight-off when there is a tie? What is the currency in Liechtenstein? Is the equivalent of Venus in Greek? Many weeks for the moon to complete a revolution of the Earth.
I just can't work out how I knew that. They're all coming to me like pictures, okay? All I can see is a quick picture in my head. It's like, bang, picture, it's gone.
Who's got all 3 of those? Which club that is currently not in the Premiership has won the most number of league titles? In the year 1992, which English town became a city? How many of Henry VIII's offspring ruled England? Before 1972, what was Sri Lanka known as? What animal, when they gather together in a group, is known as a flange? In which US state did man first knowingly drill for oil? Which Russian word literally means what is the more common name for the Volstead Act? In biblical etiology, which animal became extinct because it was thrown off the ark and drowned? Now what happens is you finish off the answers on your answer sheet and you swap your sheet with an opposing team. and then we're going to find out who has won the 2008 Night of Champions. Here come the answers. What is the middle name of George Bush? It is Walker. What's another common name for the scarab beetle? The dung beetle. How many seconds delay is there between a dong on Big Ben? The answer's 5, ladies and gentlemen. In fencing, what do you call the resultant fight-off when there is a tie? It is known as a barrage. What is the currency in Liechtenstein? The answer is the Swiss franc. Question number 9. The answer is Aphrodite. Friends. Question number 11. The answer is 4 weeks. Which current non-premiership team has won the most number of league titles? Sheffield Wednesday. Which English town became a city in 1992? The answer is
Sunderland.
Until a week ago, Glen's life revolved around his work, his wife and children, and his football. Since then, he's taken a leap of faith and has given up all his spare time to throw himself into a seemingly impossible mission, all for this one night.
Prohibition. Please put the final score in the box provided.
The final scores are being counted up now, and if Glen has been able to hold his own against a huge room of seasoned quizzers, it'll be an amazing personal achievement for him.
The results are in, ladies and gentlemen. From bottom to top, we've got a team called One Night in Powys. Moving up, we've got a team called More Luck Than Judgments. Red lorry, yellow lorry.
When Derren first told me what I was going to be going through, that was just something a million miles away from where I thought I could be.
The Toucan. Round team, quiz team, hidden talent.
I know it's a mad mission, but any questions before you start?
No, I'm just going to go for it.
The Shark. 6 thick thistle sticks. The Dynamo Devilfish. Pick a Dave and the Disciples.
Don't tell me I know everything in these really books. I mean, I can't really know everything in these books, can I?
30 points is the Missing Links. 32 points is Fawny Beige.
The whole process has been an absolute remarkable experience and something I wouldn't swap for any other experiences I've ever had.
33 points is just Glen. It's a dead heat for first place, ladies and gentlemen.
And so, after just 1 week competing on his own against the best teams in London, Glen has achieved the second highest score of the night.
Hey! It's difficult to describe exactly how I feel right now because I'm just an ordinary guy with an ordinary background, been taken out of that, put into something that I'd most probably never do, and I've done well, you know, and if I can do it, most probably everybody can do it. And some of the techniques I've been taught, they were remarkable, and obviously they've worked because I wouldn't be standing here with a bottle of champagne in my hand.